My wedding day and my dad's stepdaughter's wedding day were on the same day. I told my dad to get out of my life for choosing to attend his stepdaughter's wedding. Story 1. My dad wasn't there for me growing up. He was 25 and my mom was 22 when they had me. He didn't even pay child support for the first 7 years of my life. He was ordered to, but he always found a way to dodge support until eventually he stopped and paid it monthly and had to pay back the arrears. When I was 4, he met his wife and became a father to her daughter, who was 16 months younger than me. When I was 16, he had a change of heart and reached out to establish a relationship with me and fought to show me he really wanted this. I hesitantly agreed. He was trying really hard and even paid mom a huge lump sum of the owed child support from before. What sorta won me around was how he handled his stepdaughter. She wanted me to live with them and wanted a brother because my dad and his wife had 3 daughters together and his stepdaughter, but they consider each other father and daughter because her father isn't in her life. She was really pushy with me about moving in with them and insisting my mom kept me from dad/the family. This was not true, but she wanted to paint my mom as the bad guy. Dad told her she was wrong. He sat her down with me there and told her he was a bad dad to me and made those choices and that I didn't need to move in. He kept his ground even when she pouted and acted like a baby about it. I never wanted to be her brother and I don't like her. We have a lot of bad blood because she knows I don't want to be her brother and feels like I was wrong not to move in with them, while I find her entitled, selfish and bratty. But Dad didn't punish me for it or make it seem like I was wrong for not wanting to leave Mom after she raised me solo my whole life up to that point. He even paid for my college and was there when I needed him. My relationship with him improved, but his stepdaughter and his daughters came before me. That was something I always felt. The last year has been different for me and him. He has wanted me to be more involved in his family and get closer to his stepdaughter. He told me I've had 10 years to embrace everyone and become a full member of the family instead of treating his stepdaughter like she's the enemy. I told him it wasn't going to happen. There was drama a few months ago because rumors have circulated that his stepdaughter's boyfriend cheats on her a lot. There's no proof to my knowledge, but the rumors show no sign of stopping and more of them come out as the months pass. I got engaged last year and a month ago my fiancée and I set the date a month ago. My dad and his stepdaughter did a Zoom call with me about it where she wanted me to give the date up because she's engaged now and wants to get married on that date. I said no. She whined and I ignored her. She went along and booked the date and then called Dad via Zoom and he called me and she said she needed Dad to give her away. She said I had to find another date. I told her to fuck off and left the call. Dad called me and said he needs to be there for her and he doesn't want to miss my wedding, so please move the date. To me, it was just a step too far and I told him to get the fuck out of my life and attend his stepdaughter's wedding. I understood he raised the girls so they were first for him, but for all the fighting he did for me, to put this girl before me was too much and for something I booked first. Besides, he made it clear whose wedding he'd attend. My dad has tried to reach out despite what I said, and his wife sent a long email the other night saying I should have compassion and understanding for him. Ita. Relevant comments. Commenter. NTA. Nope. And time to block her and her mother. Compassion and understanding for him. You weren't the one who put him in this situation. He chose. He chose her. That he is pushing you to change your date versus pushing her to change her date speaks volumes. And the stepsister only chose that specific date because OP had already chosen it. Stepsister knew Dad would choose her over OP, and this was just the opportunity to prove it. Dad didn't just choose, he was dick about it. OP already picked the date, before stepsister decided she had to have that date. Well, she didn't have to have that date. She could have picked another date. Brat's stepsister forced pathetic Dad to choose. Dad should have just said, sorry, I can't come that day. This reeks of manipulation and spinelessness. Well, it's only a matter of time before the stepsister finds her boyfriend/fiancé/husband balls deep in his side piece on their bed. Before or after the wedding is irrelevant. It's not going to last unless she's super into sunk cost fallacy. 100% she damn sure knew Daddy would pick her wedding over his estranged sons. I don't understand people like this. Yep. She did it on purpose to show she is the favorite and to break the father-son relationship. The final nail. NTA. Update me. There are 364 other days in a year. What the actual F***ck? This bint is doing this to OP on purpose, no way she isn't. Tip, tell your family and his extended family the reason why you have disinvited them from the wedding, since I am sure they will want to control the narrative. Don't let them paint you as the bad guy in this story. Commenter. I had a similar situation. Dad remarried when I was 8 or so and he embraced my stepsisters wholeheartedly. My brother and I were afterthoughts through most of my childhood. The thing that sucked the most was that he was a great dad until the divorce. Found out later my mom cheated on him, so he hated her. My visitation would involve me going to my stepsister's softball games that he coached. My brother and I would sit in the stands. At night, we slept on the couches in the den. No space for anything. Additionally, he made so much more money than my mom, but lied so much. They had so much more than me. I kept playing the pick-me dance with my dad. I'm 63, female, and it was years before I realized he was a toxic person in my life. My brother died at 17, I was almost 19, and I cut him out of my life. But, after I got married at 25, I tried again. I live about 2.5 hours from him. I met him for dinner, my husband had to work. He said they'd come to my house the following day to meet my husband. They never showed, never called. Just like when I was a kid. That was it. Done. Sometimes you just have to acknowledge that the person is so flawed and toxic they bring nothing to the relationship. I haven't missed him a bit because in truth he was never really present. Before you do, since she's decided to fight your dad's battles, ask his wife where her daughter's compassion was when she decided to book her wedding on the day she knew you were having yours. Ask her where her daughter's compassion was when she was trying to paint your mom as the villain, or where your dad's compassion is for constantly picking his daughters over you. Tell her that instead of lecturing you, she should be talking to her daughter and teaching her about compassion and empathy, and reminding said daughter that while she got to grow up with a dad, you didn't, and now she wants to snatch your wedding date to prove to you that your dad values her more, something your dad has now confirmed. Then block them and leave them to squabble amongst each other. Get the last word in by pointing out how this was caused by her shitty parenting, your dad's shitty favoritism, and her daughter's shitty petty jealousy and selfishness. NTA. Your dad had years to be there for you and now he's choosing his stepdaughter over your wedding. Even though you booked the date first. It's understandable you'd be hurt and frustrated, you deserve to have him prioritize you for once. NTA. You set your date first. She set hers on the same day to force your father into choosing her. He did. There is nothing for you to do here, except recognize how awful they all are and choose not to keep this drama in your life. I would go NC with the lot. Up. That's what I plan to do. I already told him to get the fuck out of my life. And I meant every word of it. NTA, and I am willing to bet that the stepsister's wedding doesn't take place. And dad will try to come to yours. Do not let him. Lock him and the lot of them and have a beautiful wedding and a long and happy marriage. Up. Or maybe the affair will be exposed at the wedding and she'll be humiliated. I'm petty enough to hope that happens. Your stepsister did what? That's, she can fuck right off and he can go along with her. He's enabling that behavior like he probably always has by giving in and attending her wedding instead of yours. It sounds like he would have done that even if you hadn't told him to fuck off. I mean, let's be honest, the father of the bride is more important in a traditional wedding than the father of a groom. But, he should have told her what she did was unacceptable and he would not be able to give her away on the same day as his son's wedding. It would be entirely different if it was like an, oops, how did this happen, but she knew exactly what she was doing and she shouldn't be rewarded for it. That's why I told him to get the fuck out of my life. He was clear he wouldn't miss her wedding and well, he made a choice with that and it's not one I'm willing to forget. Especially when he tries to claim I'm his son and he loves me and blah blah blah. That's bullshit and we both know it. Simply point out this is the same crap the stepdaughter pulled trying to get you to move in. It is about control over you and him. If he gives in then she has won. He already gave in when he said he needed to be there. She won. She can have him. He's not worth it. Time to keep him permanently out of your life. Story 2, AITA for breaking down after my girlfriend suggested an open relationship. I, 34-year-old male, am 5 feet 3 inches and have always been self-conscious about my height. I'm aware that it holds me back in the dating market to some level. I've worked hard my entire life to prove myself and now have a successful career, making more than enough to live comfortably. I've been dating my girlfriend, 26-year-old female, for 2 years. She's stunning, charismatic, and confident, everything I've always wanted in a partner but never thought I'd actually have. Early on, I asked what she saw in me, and her response was vague but sweet, something about how I'm kind and stable. It was enough for me to believe this was real. But recently, she suggested we try an open relationship. She said she wanted to explore freedom while staying committed emotionally. It hit me like a truck. I asked if she wasn't happy with me or if I wasn't enough. She laughed nervously and said it wasn't about me, just that she felt too young to lock herself down. I tried to hold it together, but I couldn't. I started crying, which I never do, especially in front of her. I told her that it felt like I was just a placeholder, that maybe she was using me for financial security while looking for someone better. She looked shocked and said I was overreacting and being dramatic, that it wasn't about replacing me, just adding more to our dynamic. At that point, I told her if she wanted to explore, she could do it, but not while in a relationship with me. She looked stunned and started to argue, but I told her I needed space and asked her to leave. She's been texting me saying I'm being unfair and making her feel bad for being honest about her needs. So, AITA. I'm considering breaking up. This hurt me so much, genuinely. Update: I broke up with her over text. She was really mad and called me crying, but I was 100% sure, so I broke up with her regardless. Relevant comments. Commenter. NTA. A suggestion of an open relationship especially after 2 years is complete grounds for a breakup. Either she has someone in mind already or she's wanting to window shop for more options in the future. I'm so sorry, OP. That would absolutely break me as well. The fact that she started to argue and victimize herself is also very telling. She's trying to make you seem like the bad guy for holding her back. If she wants an open relationship so badly out of the blue after a 2-year relationship, she can find someone who wants an open relationship. I guess you're right. There's someone else or she wants to search. This open relationship can't work. Especially not in OP's favor. Update me. OP was right. She's using him for financial security. Nothing more. Well, at least she told him, some people would just fuck around and baby trap their partner. Good job for breaking up with her. Commenter. Exactly, NTA. Her asking for an open relationship after 2 years is a huge red flag. It's not just about her wanting freedom, it's more likely that she's not fully invested in a relationship or might already be exploring options. Her reaction, trying to guilt you into thinking you're the problem, only makes it worse. You have every right to not want to be in that kind of situation, and if she can't respect your boundaries, then it's definitely better to move on. You deserve someone who's on the same page and values the commitment. Also, who cares if she is genuine about freedom? OP doesn't deserve to be stuck at home paying the bills while his GF is out fucking guys. After 2 years, suggesting an open relationship is like saying, hey, let's see what else is on the menu while I'm still eating my favorite dish. If she's window shopping, maybe it's time for you to close the curtains and enjoy your own meal without her trying to add extra toppings. 100% NTA, dump her. If you marry her, she's only going to stick around long enough to lock down alimony. And sorry to say, if she's asking for an open relationship, she's probably already picked out her side piece. Leave now, don't give her a chance to set up a fake domestic violence claim. Just grab your important stuff, otherwise she will destroy it out of spite. Years ago there was a show called Love Line that talked about all things involving relationships. When it came to open relationships and threesomes, it was said that it almost always results in a breakup. Feel so much pain for OP. I'd say the odds are that she has already cheated multiple times. Now she just wants to absolve any guilt and get permission. Kick her to the curb, OP. She is and always will be a low-value person. Find yourself someone better and be safe in the knowledge that your character is not compromised. Sending you love. Story 3, Ada for not wanting to host Christmas after the family stole all the Thanksgiving leftovers. My husband and I hosted the family for Thanksgiving. We made 2 turkeys, a ham, 20 pounds of mashed potatoes, 2 pans of dressing, sweet potato casserole, the full Thanksgiving menu. My in-laws always bring a ton of desserts, trays of cookies, pies, rolls, etc., which helps so much. We had a lovely evening, good food, good drink, good company. Later in the evening, when people were packing up to go, My husband had bought some plastic leftover containers for this moment and said help yourselves to some leftovers. We then went back into the front room to continue socializing. I was pretty tired and put my feet up, until it came time to walk everyone out. I looked into the kitchen and saw that the food on the island and the table was put away and went to bed. The next morning I woke up starving, dreaming of turkey, mashed potatoes, and gravy. I opened the fridge and stood there in shock. It was empty except for a bag of turkey wings and half a bag of dressing. I thought there had to be some mistake and went to check the fridge in the garage. Nothing there. Evening. I sat in shock, trying to comprehend what had happened to all of that food. When my husband walked into the kitchen, I asked him if there had been some miscommunication. Did he offer the leftover food to our relative's charity organization? He said that he had not, but he had observed another relative and his entire family carrying out the food that they had brought, unopened dessert that the in-laws had brought, in addition to gallon Ziploc bags of the food that we had made. Did I mention I had made 20 pounds of mashed potatoes? It was a pleasure to make a meal for us to share together and I welcomed a reasonable amount of leftovers, but to literally rob your host and take everything is out of bounds in my book. Now I don't want to host Christmas because of this greedy behavior. 8. Relevant comments. Commenter. Do not host Christmas. Just say, sorry we spent so much on Thanksgiving and when everyone took all the leftovers, leaving us nothing, I had to go out and buy food for us which used up my food budget for the month. Merry Christmas. Name and shame, too, if it wasn't everyone, if Aunt Marge and Cousin Fred took reasonable amounts, but Uncle Howard and his family were the real culprits, make sure to say, and when Uncle Howard and his family took all the leftovers, leaving us nothing. Don't spread the blame, unless it's warranted. You don't want Aunt Marge feeling weird about her perfectly normal Tupperware of food. My sister and I sneak, are there any mashed potatoes left, Mom? Every holiday, in front of my clue/classless sister-in-law, who took all the potatoes and gravy, 7 years ago, and then hysterically cackle, which we know is awful, but we take it a step further, we've made mashed potato ornaments, gifted each other boxes of instant potatoes. We had a horrible uncle wipe out all the lemon pie on Thanksgiving. My dad was so mad. Never invited them again. This is the pettiness I can get behind. My daughter and I would do the same. My girl loves mashed potatoes and she makes a huge batch. Anyone that gets between her and her mashed potatoes has a death wish. That's awesome. Is she still your sister-in-law? And has she changed her ways if she is? This is way better than my suggestion. Y'all are a bunch of hogs and I'm not hosting you again. My God, I just threw my head back and belly laughed at this. They even took the last can of hoo hash. They took it all. All the potatoes, 10 pounds or more, turkey slices and stuffing galore. Then before they could out the door dash, dear old auntie snagged the last can of hoo hash. Commenter. Hee. Evidently, they were not vegans. I wonder if their hearts are 3 times too small. Why didn't your husband say anything when he saw them taking the food? Exactly. He literally watched it happen and did nothing to stop/correct the situation. Up. He said he saw them walk out to their car with the unopened desserts that my in-laws had brought. He thought it was tacky, but didn't want to spoil the evening by calling them out. He didn't know that they had cleaned out the turkey, mashed potatoes, and sides until the next morning. NTA. By the sound of it, they will still be eating your leftovers by then. Y'all already ate your share of food for both Thanksgiving and Christmas, so why would I need to host? See you in the new year. Are our families related? I had family members take all the leftover food for my mother's funeral. It was for my brothers and our kids. Relatives from my deceased father's side took everything, even took food out of my refrigerator. Now that's despicable. Everyone knows that food that is left over from a funeral or wake is given to the immediate family. No one else takes any of it home. Story 4, AITA for not giving any of my inheritance from my grandparents to my stepbrother to pay for college. Because my mom died when I, 20-year-old male, was young, my grandparents, meaning her parents, set aside a decent amount of money for me and gave it to me when I turned 18 as an inheritance of sorts. They said to consider it money my mom would have left me if she'd been older and had more to leave me. They told me to use it for college or to use it for my future. I went into an apprenticeship instead of going to college. I decided the money can go toward a house for me and my future partner in the future. My dad knows about the inheritance and he was unhappy with my grandparents keeping him out of it. He told them it should have been something discussed, especially when he remarried and he became a stepdad and a dad to more kids. My dad and his wife had a lot of crap going on in the last 3 years. My stepbrother is graduating in May and he wants to go to college. He doesn't meet the criteria for a scholarship, financial aid won't cover a lot for him and they can't help him out much with student loans because of the last 3 years. So my dad and his wife asked me to give him at least $50,000 out of the money I have. Though they made it clear they felt I should be willing to give it all so he has a chance to proceed like he wants to. I told them I wasn't giving any of the money for him to go to college. My dad's wife stormed out. Dad stayed and tried to tear me a new one for my decision, but I shut him down and asked him to leave. I told him I did not want to hear him yell at me for not giving my money away. He said it's to help one of my siblings go to college. They tried adding pressure for me to change my mind, but I replied no one time to each of them and then didn't reply again. My stepbrother texted me last night and said I suck for hogging all that money. He said I got a lucky deal with grandparents who gave a crap and he never got that, and then I get all this money and I don't even use it for college. He said he always thought I was his big brother, but I'm just a selfish asshat. Ita. Relevant comments. Commenter. Nta. Block them. Use it for your own future. Your grandparents were smart to keep it out of reach of your dad. I'm sure if you had the choice you'd rather have your mother back. Tell your stepbrother he's lucky to have one and go away NTA. Stepbro is an AH. He still has his mother but thinks this is just some random gift to OP from the grandparents. Tfo. True. But I put it all on OP's dad. No one else would be feeling entitled or deprived unless dad started the jealousy, fanned the fire and organized the harassment campaign. Stepmom and stepbrother, maybe to a slightly lesser extent being a vulnerable dependent teen, are responsible for their own bad behavior. But the whole issue originates with dad. That's what I tell people when they ask how I managed to do certain things. He had a small life insurance policy that my sister and I split. They say, oh well, that must be nice. I'm like, well, I'd rather have my dad back, but okay. As if money can replace a parent you love. I'd also rather it was my mother than my father, but that's neither here nor there. NTA. What an entirely shitty thing for your stepbrother to say. You have this money because your mother is dead. That is not lucky. He gets to have his mother still living. That is lucky. He has options like community college and in-state schools. And after that comment I wouldn't give a cent, wouldn't before that comment either, just FYI, but absolutely not after saying something as tacky and heartless as that. Your stepbrother isn't even related to your maternal grandparents. They didn't save just to have it go to a stranger. No. NTA. Commenter. Stand your ground, NTA. The key is to let them know you're going to shut down the conversation immediately with any family member who brings it up, and hold that boundary. This. Tell your father you will seriously consider it as soon as he resurrects your mother from the grave and apologizes to her for trying to steal money from her parents. Because that is what he is doing. Your grandparents sacrificed to leave a legacy on behalf of your mom to you, her child. Not to the progeny of the woman he married after your mom died. NTA. Those kids are not your mother's kids. They are not your grandparents' grandchildren. They are the kids of your father's wife, not related to them in any way. Up. Yep, but my dad doesn't like hearing that. It doesn't matter what he doesn't like hearing. He doesn't defend you, but he defends them. So he deserves to hear the truth, no matter how many times he doesn't like hearing it, it needs to be reinforced. Thank you so much for watching until the end. If you enjoyed our videos, please don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to stay updated with our latest ones. Have a great day.